you measure it. If you measure it, you gotta see what's the patterns, identify the patterns.
Yeah.
See if you're getting better at doing it again.
See if you're getting better at, if it's improving or not. You can't do anything about it if you don't see the trend. It might be an anomaly, right? Some weeks are more difficult than others when it comes to like support work. We all know that. We've been at this game for a bit, and Nelnet's no different than any other organization. Sometimes we get inundated, and it's an anomaly. It's a one-time event, hopefully, right? And so kind of look at that and go, whoa, what happened during this time box, or this period of time? It may be kind of a fluky thing, but look at it. Ask questions about it. What was different this time? What occurred? Maybe it was a release that went in, caused all kinds of problems. That's possible. But measure it, trend it, start taking action on it, and see if that action trends it in the direction you want. If it doesn't, that's called an experiment, by the way, right? You see data, you use information, and you say, well, this is what I think it tells me. And then you come up with some sort of hypothesis. If I do this, then I think this will reduce, right? And then it goes up. You're like, whoops, my hypothesis is wrong. So I would need a different course of action. So look at that and implement a different experiment. Another way of looking at it here, they have, this particular trend has 5 different types of data that they're tracking, and they're seeing it over periods of time and how that might look for them. I try to make sense of some of this data, and I can throw darts at it, but I don't know until you dig under the covers, right? And you have all the information available to you. Don't make decisions on a single point of data. Look at it over time and multiple points of data. The other thing I want to share with you with regard to how does this data inform me, we all come in with different biases, right? I have different experiences, which forms my beliefs about something. You guys have different experiences, which forms your beliefs about something. We all bring in our own experiences and our own biases as it relates to anything around, well, anything, but certainly when we're looking at data. Tell the story. Challenge one another with respect to what does it tell us? How does it inform us? What might we do? Is this okay? Right? Maybe this data is okay. Maybe it's not. My product owner certainly has a seat at that table as well. Right? If my boss is maybe that green column is the boss. These are all the boss's requests. I would venture to say that most leaders here would go, oh my gosh, am I really doing that to you? And hopefully they would follow that with how they would change their behavior. Right? Anybody know W. Edwards Deming? He's a management consultant. And he says, you can't fix what you don't measure, right? So my challenge to you and your teams is to, if you're not measuring this stuff, measure. Right? If 90% of your work is support work, but you don't see it, you can't really change behavior there, or you can't change if this is killing you or killing productivity around that revenue generating or protecting type of work that we set out to do. If we've got 90% of our capacity is taken by doing support, it might be worth looking at. Maybe there's something we can do as a team. So measure. That's all I have for you guys. Please give us your feedback. You have questions? We do have a couple minutes.
I have a question. So, as it pertains to saying yes or no, people say no, they probably get a shot at cortisol. It's stressful to say no.
Yeah.
And saying yes probably gets them a shot of dopamine. So they're addicted to saying yes. How do we fix that?
Can you repeat what you said?
So he's using terms like dopamine and cortisol that he learned yesterday.
Makes sense.
So
I'm assuming you knew that beforehand. How do you fix that, the addiction? I mean, you gotta wean them off of it, right? But start measuring it and talk collectively as a team on what the impact is. So if you're a yes guy or gal, and you're constantly saying yeah because you get a charge of dopamine, hopefully your team is going, dude, cut it out, right? Because you have things that you've committed to that you're not getting to, right? Which is hard to do for teams, and I recognize that. Which is why if you start making it visual, I believe, if you make it visible, it informs the team of what's occurring. You start to see those bottlenecks of work that got stuck. And maybe it's yours because you keep saying yes to things, right? You get a lot of other stuff done. You're equally as busy as the rest of your teammates, but on the wrong things, perhaps. Right? Other questions?
That one, Chris?
Yes.
What's a good way to track the squirrels so we can measure their impact?
Well, like you saw in some of the pictures, create a column in your or a row in your board, and track it the same way you do any other work. But create a row that's swirls or drive-bys or whatever you want to call it,
Like a PBI itself?
and create a PBI and throw it right in there. And then see how it informs you, right? If you see 20 of those in a given time box, you probably have a problem. And that problem could be that we're saying yes to too many things. The problem could be that we didn't plan well enough. The problem could be, it could be anything, but at least if you have the information, you can start to see it and ask some of those questions. What do we do with it? Again, it may be okay. It may be the reality of our world. Probably not, but it could be. Be open. Yes?
So I know on our call team, we tagged stuff as squirrel. So we have a squirrel tag. So you could look at the on board and just see how many squirrels we have.
Yeah. And I know you guys are supposed to be asking me questions, but now I have questions. Is that okay? How did that inform you guys? Did you guys take action on that, or what did you do?
I'm not sure what the PO, if she was tracking it, was talking about. We kind of started doing it right before I left.
Yeah. Okay. When you left that team? Or
Yeah, the team, not the company.
Well, I thought maybe, like if she left to come here for camp, in which case, it's pretty soon she'll learn. So if she ain't going back to that team, probably not.
On the opposite side of all of this, if the folks that are reaching out to these team members, we have a lot of outside interruptions in our team. I mean, it's like, there's a lot of knowledge there, so there's a lot of folks that are coming for these one-off situations. Exactly like you said, this is only gonna take me 15 minutes to tell me what this is doing. So they do it, and then of course they're told for what they're doing. They don't track it because it takes to track it. But I think at some point we have to get training or knowledge or something out to the people that are doing this so that they stop. Because even them coming to the team, whether they say yes or no, still interrupts their day.
Right. Yeah, what we did, another company I worked at, we had a problem with just getting inundated with support type stuff, those types of things, questions, right? I don't know about this particular borrower or whatever it might be, the status of this thing. And the issue was that we didn't provide the tools to our end users to look at this information, right? So what we did was took this massive bucket of tickets and it's a point in time, and we just started looking at different threads. A lot of it was reports. We said, oh my gosh, we have all these report requests. The CIO asks for this information. Basically, this report looks at this one extra field. The CEO asked for the same information, except he didn't want that field. He wanted. So now I've got like 28 reports doing basically the same thing. And then there's others. That's an easy one to kind of talk about, but we had a lot of that stuff. So then we ended up taking time, investing in building a tool to allow them to build their own reports. If you don't want to see that data, then turn it off. If you want to see it, turn it on. You can aggregate it, do all these other cool things with we exposed that to the end user. That reduced, so our hypothesis was it would reduce our, our take count and those questions and the work it takes to add this additional thing. So that's an easy one to talk about, but there are other things like that. If we start to bucket that work and see where it is, can we invest in providing that tool, those tools, or providing them a mechanism to be able to answer their own questions, right?
So,
And therefore reducing eruption.
so to Kristen's point, in a past organization, as a product owner, we had that gut feel that this is what was happening, and so with an experiment, we're like, team, I know it's gonna take time to put in the backlog item, right, of what this was. But until we have some data so that we can have that educational conversation of, here's what this does. And so I asked the team, can you get behind this? And I know that it's going to take time, but we need the information so we can have the conversation versus going, our gut tells us, right? We know it's there, but that's how I did it as a product owner, was I full on asked the team to engage in this experiment so we can collect this data. So.
All right, we are over time. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, real fast. I've actually experienced the no thing that's in the mobile ahead of time. And I was surprised how much stuff I got working on stuff by saying no. And the way I did it too, I was telling people, you need to contact my product owner. And if they want me to shift priorities, I'm happy to do that.
Absolutely.
And also, too, it's different if somebody's asking you about your gout on your foot, as opposed to something else. So
Yeah.
there needs to be a distinction in that too.
Yeah. No, great, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
No, I think there's a talk about, no. Cool, thanks guys. We'll be back at 10 o'clock. There you go, Chris.
What's up? You gotta try to get somewhere. Yeah.
Hi.
And they,
Well, those right. I got this way.
usually in the morning, but the flow of traffic is better watching everybody sit. We're trying to get to
Exactly, or maybe there's a.
At least I'll like kind of see
Sometimes it's
For this session,
good. You know, depending on how long I stay, you need to get used to it. When you start.
Thanks a lot.
right, guys, let's get back to it. All right, everybody get some snacks? Yeah. Coffee? You need a blanket over there? You need a shawl? All right.
All right, thanks, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for attending the Team Metrics We Are What We Measure session. My name is Paul Jacinto, and I'm a Scrum Master at NDS for the Quasar System of the Future team. And well, that's enough about me. I really think this session is about everybody else in the room. So when I put this together, I had you guys in mind. So what if I told you I had a tool or technique that would be very beneficial for Scrum Masters, but also for product owners and the team in general? Would you be interested? Or would you be like, Paul, wow, that sounds too good to be true? Maybe it is. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide. But before we get to the punchline and the actual answer to all that, let's do a little survey. So just text your answer to that address. I think you can use the same text box you used earlier this morning. But basically, when you hear about data or team metrics, what emotion or word comes to mind when you think about that? It could be a feeling. It doesn't have to be some techie term. Sad. Oh, that's interesting. Awesome. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. Sad, yeah. Sad's getting bigger. Success. Sad with a period. Oh wait, no, that's velocity with the I, okay. Okay, well that's updating. I think data and metrics in general, I think if you think about it, you guys are actually big fans of it without actually realizing it. So we'll come back to this word cloud. So the word sad is so big that let's marinate on that at the end. Okay, so data and metrics. If you think about it, could you actually get to work safely if you didn't have a working odometer on your car? Okay. If you look at this odometer, though, it's interesting. It's one of, for your car, it tells you distance to empty, 375, the tank is full. So, they put some brains and some smarts into this car. And it's probably looking at your past history, driving history patterns to determine how far you can go on this amount of gas. And also, look, you've got the check oil light and the service engine light on there. Those are also data points that we kind of take for granted. And how about the speedometer? You need to know how fast you're going to avoid getting a ticket, right? So, now that's just one example where, we take it for granted. We don't even dwell on it because it's just something that you just take for granted, basically. Now, how about this next picture? Anyone fly in to the session for this week? Now, I know when it's nice and clear, a pilot can fly without instrumentation, but if it's on a dark and cloudy night, or even if it's an evening landing, you wouldn't feel too good if your pilot's instrumentation was not functioning. So that's just another example of where metrics are part of our daily lives. And then this last picture, any fans of Tesla anyone own Tesla stock? Okay, hopefully you bought it really, really early and not recently. But basically, they've got a automated semi-truck that drove from California to Arkansas unmanned. So all the inner workings of a self-driving car is very data heavy, analysis heavy. So, you know, all these important things in our lives are, you know, just out there. So what I want to plant in your mind is we should also manage projects in the same way. And, you know, I've had the opportunity to dig through the TFS. You have a couple flavors of TFS and also Jira. And my sense is like the teams here aren't using data or metrics very much. So, you know, maybe we can dig a little bit deeper into that in the Q&A session. But, okay, I wanted to give you another example. Like the human body is basically like a perfect system that's always trying to attain homeostasis. So a good example of that is body temperature, right? You got to keep a constant normal body temperature. If it's too hot, you know, your body reacts to that by sweating. And as the sweat evaporates from the body, it actually cools you down. When it's too hot or too cold, your body kind of shivers in reaction to that. So kind of the theme throughout, you know, both days so far that I picked up is people, feels like the human mind or brain is part of a lot of the topics in this session. So does anyone want to call out the part of the brain that regulates temperature? Anyone want to take a guess? It's okay to be wrong. It's the hypothalamus. So basically that's the part of the brain that's constantly reading your body temperature and telling your body how to react to maintain a normal temperature. So, you know, back to that word cloud, you know, SAD was like one of the bigger choices in the cloud. So do you guys feel differently about that now that you kind of realize, oh, you know, data and metrics are kind of part of our daily existence? Right? Keep thinking about that. We'll move on. So let's start off with a quote. It's easy to lie with statistics, but it's even easier to lie without. So I dug out a bunch of quotes that I thought, well, that would be motivating for people that maybe thought metrics and data were a bad thing or a sad thing. So these are just sprinkled out throughout the presentation. So what's your feeling on this quote? You guys agree or disagree or neutral?
Oh, agree.
All right. I tend to agree with it. Yes, Kyle.
So I've just got a question. So when the group puts sad up there, are they sad because metrics make them sad? Or are they sad because they're not using metrics enough?
Yeah, we'll dig into that
Okay.
in the Q&A. I mean, we're going to need some context, so maybe we'll get some volunteers to maybe give context into why they voted for SAD. So what's the whole point of data and metrics? Well, there's a trend towards a data-driven decision. We also want to make informed forecasts and estimates. And you know, this term of high-performing or low-performing team gets thrown out a lot around Nelnet. But my question to those folks who have an opinion on their team, like, how do you know? Are you guessing? Is it a hunch? Does anyone want to volunteer an answer or share what their thought is on that?
We try to track effort points.
Okay.
To stay with it, or at least measure velocity. It's still sort of subjective. I don't know.
So you've
How
got a
we assign-
benchmark, basically.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate our guesses are, but it's at least keeps us in the ballpark.
Okay, yeah, and when I talk to people here at Nelnet and they tell me, oh, you know, I've got a high-performing team, you know, I'll just ask them, like, how do you know? And usually there's some awkward silence and pauses there. Kyle, you had a
Well, so I mean, I'm part of an infrastructure team, so the way we measure things, well, we're not, the way we don't measure things is maybe a little bit different, but I think our team is often determined to be high performing or low performing by the amount of work we're not getting done, by the amount of work that backs up on our team. So.
Okay, so if there's like a log chain that's kind of like a signal to your team that we need to get the work flowing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of backwards that, because the amount of work that gets piled on us is not necessarily relevant to how well we're working, you know? So, but that's really, I think, just because we're not measuring, that's the only measurement.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I mean, I kind of think it's like an overall, it is a little bit of an, it's like an overall feeling. Are we meeting our commitments? Are we, did we, you know, choose a number of stories to complete within our sprint? Are we working well together? Kind of all those things go into saying whether we're performing well.
Okay. How often do the folks here look at those trends or metrics? Every retrospective, once a month, once a quarter?
We do a health survey monthly. So the team is actually doing a survey on their health in several different categories monthly.
Oh, cool.
So there is a way to identify, from a metric standpoint, whether or not we gauged ourselves high or low performing in each category.
Okay.
And that's monthly.
And the questions on there, are they kind of like subjective, or are they, you know, based on velocity or trending?
I think there are a lot of touchy-feely.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, that type of data is qualitative, and we'll get into that later in the presentation. Yes.
I think I just now made the connections, but when I look at some of your previous screens, you've got multiple dials on a vehicle, whether it's an airplane or whatever. You go into the doctor to find out if you're healthy, right? They don't just look at just blood pressure or just this, you know. There's
Right.
multiple factors they look at. So I think it's looking at all the numbers to get the big picture. And then if you have a goal to get somewhere, you know, then you take those numbers, and then 6 months or a year later, you go back into your doctor and you look at where you are on those numbers. And I think if you were a high-performing, healthy person in that stage, you would want to look for our measures that you had that maybe weren't great getting better.
Right.
On the right trend.
Right, exactly. So it's a combination of metrics, right? You can't just be hung up on velocity. That's just one number. You can't use that to judge the entire efficiency of your team. So even when you go to the doctor, when you get blood work done, you're checking a battery of different signals and you know, measures in your blood work, right? So right, the whole point of this is, you know, metrics and data, they should be driving improvements to the team in terms of corrective behaviors, right? So here's another quote I love. So basically, a single metric or number, it's just a model. It's just a measure of something related to maybe the output of your team. So a collection of metrics is basically a model of the real world, or you know, some system. And basically this guy, he's a pretty big statistician. All models are wrong, but some are useful. So it's up to the person interpreting the metrics to see if there's some value in there for him to use. So yeah, I went, you know, asking the room in general, like, how often do you look at the metrics? Is it daily, every 2 weeks, at the end of the sprint, maybe quarterly? So somebody mentioned a monthly health survey.
Every sprint planning.
Do every sprint planning.
We look at our history. What do we pull? What do we miss on? There's a sense of what we can pull next.
Okay.
We're
so-
actually looking at things daily too, because you're looking at how many stories you've completed and how many stories are in each status, or so every sprint status, or status update.
No, that's
Stand-up,
right.
sorry.
So hopefully your Scrum Master is kind of keeping tabs on things on a daily basis. But yeah, I would love to see the folks at Nelnet maybe look at metrics on a more regular basis. Daily would be ideal. And burn downs and velocity, or cycle time. Those are like the common metrics. But I'd like to see Nelnet use additional things, and I'll get into that later in the deck. So, okay. So I want to tie this into that question of how often you look at metrics. So here is a snapshot of, I believe this is a snapshot of Hurricane Irene. It's Monday, August 22nd, 2011. So when the National Weather Service is kind of warning people in the U.S. mainland where a storm might hit, they kind of create a model to project where the storm is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 days out in the future. And if you look at where the storm currently is right now, it's this orange dot. And basically this white area is the projected path of the hurricane. And notice, like, where we are right now. So this is Monday, August 22nd. This white area of where the storm is, it's very tight. And as you move out, notice that when you move from Monday to Tuesday, that area gets wider. Then Wednesday gets even more wider. And all the way up to Saturday, they think the storm is going to hit around Jacksonville, Florida, and on the Georgia coast. So they've got models to predict where the storm is going to hit, and that'll drive whether people need to flee, board up their windows, leave the state, leave town.